Hi Precalc students. Today we're going to take a look at Chapter 11 for the final exam review. Okay, this first question right here says, the average wind speeds recorded at various weather stations in the United States are listed below. So we have different cities here and the wind speed at that actual city. So what we're going to do is, for the first part, it says construct a histogram and label it appropriately. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to take all of this data, and enter it in your calculator in list 1. So you're going to press Stat, Edit, and you're going to enter all that data in list 1, all of that in list 1. Once you're done with that, we want to take a look at the graph that it makes. So after you're done with that, you're going to press Zoom 9. And that might not give you the most appropriate looking histogram. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the X scale. If you go to Window and then take a look at X scale, and whatever that number is, you want to round it up to the next whole number, no matter what it is. If it's 4.2, you're going to round it up to 5. And then press Graph and Trace. And when we say label it appropriately, there are a few things that we need to talk about. The x-axis is going to be the wind speed in miles per hour. Make sure to include that. And the y-axis is always going to be the frequency or the counts. And then you need to come up with some type of scale. You can go up by 1s like we did here. You can go up by 2s, 4s, it doesn't matter. So we can either have this histogram right here, or we can have this second looking histogram that we have on the right here, where instead of going from 6.2 to 8.2, you go from 6 to 8. Now, to figure out how many are in each bar or in each bin width right here, if you press the graph button, or once you have the actual graph, if you press the trace button on the bottom, it'll identify n equals, and it'll tell you the number for each bin width. Once we do that, the next thing we're going to need to do is to summarize our data, summarize our histogram. And so whenever we talk about summarizing or describing the distribution, we are going to do the SOCs. We want to talk about the shape, outlier, center, and spread. So the shape or the distribution of wind speeds is positively skewed. We can also say it's skewed to the right. So remember, what you want to do is kind of draw a bell curve around there and see where the tail ends up. And the tail does end up to the right, so it's positively skewed. There are no outliers. There are no wind speeds that were really far away from other wind speeds. So we say there are no outliers here. Now, we're going to go with the median for the center because it is skewed to the right. Even if it were skewed to the left, we're going to use the median. And then you can go back into your list of your one variable stats, and you can find all those values there. The median is 9.2 miles per hour. And then when we talk about the spread, we want to talk about the IQR, the middle 50% of the data, or we can talk about the range value. So the wind speeds range from 6.2 to 12.5 miles per hour, and half of the wind speeds are between, and the middle half of the wind speeds are between 8.45 and 10.45 miles per hour.